Hey guys, my name is Chelsea Wise. I am the host of the Wise Photographer podcast, and I'm so glad that you're joining me for this video. So in this video, we did a workshop inside our Facebook Insiders group, and we are talking all about blogging today. So if you guys know me, I am all about systems and workflows and making sure that whatever I am spending my time on is time well spent. I'm a busy mom of two. We work on a farm and ranch, and we have a greenhouse. So we have a lot going on. So I want to make sure that whatever I am spending time on in my business is time that is being used to its fullest potential. So in this workshop, we are talking about how we can really create a strategic plan when we decide to start blogging. So whether you are a wedding photographer, newborn photographer, portrait photographer, blogging can be a really powerful tool. Even when you live in a teeny tiny little town, because I live in the middle of nowhere, remember guys, up in North Dakota. So this workshop, we're going to be diving into the strategy behind blogging, the types of content that we can create. We're going to be talking about how to format our blog posts so that we make sure we're getting both the skimmers and the readers. We'll also be talking about a little bit on SEO and how we can leverage that pretty simply as photographers. We have a lot of images, and I'm going to show you how you can kind of leverage those images when it comes to Google, because Google can actually see your images. So we want to make sure that that Google knows what is on the images that you're sharing. And then finally, we'll also be talking a little bit about how to get the most out of your blog post. We don't want to just throw a blog post up and kind of forget about it. We want to make sure that this blog post is working for us over the long haul. So I'll be sharing where you guys can be sharing your blog posts and how you can use them in your business and in your marketing. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on into today's episode. All right, guys, we are going to go ahead and get started. I am really excited to really dive into blogging today. So this is kind of what we are going to be going over. So we're going to be talking about the different topics that you can blog about. We're going to talk about how often you should be blogging, how to format your blog posts, and we'll also be talking about where to share your posts and how you can leverage SEO quickly and efficiently as photographers. So let's go ahead and dive into what we should actually be blogging about as photographers. So before we get into specific topics, I kind of want to talk a little bit about the strategy that we can have behind blogging. So YouTube has this cool little pyramid that they created, and they call it the 3 H's. So it's your hygiene, your hero, and your, I can't remember, your help content. I can't remember exactly what it's called. But I kind of reworked this a little bit to kind of really make sense more for me and for other photographers that I was kind of talking to. So you can think of it as the same pyramid. So there's 3 different types of content. The base of the pyramid, so this is what's going to be the most frequently posted types of content. And this is what I like to call the help content. So this is going to include topics that your clients might be searching for online. So you want to think about kind of like how-to articles, what to wear, preparing for a session, things that are going to kind of get you on their radar and kind of plant that seed that you are an expert in your area, that you know what you're talking about, and that you are there to kind of help them. Now, the next type of content, the next level up, is called growth content. And this is where we start to kind of grow that relationship with our clients, and we get to really show off our personality and what sets us apart from all of the other photographers in our area and in our industry. So these types of posts are going to be things like personal posts, past sessions that you have already photographed. So whether it's weddings or engagement sessions or family sessions, senior sessions, but inside those posts, you're going to kind of really talk about your relationship with your clients, not just posting their photos, but you're also going to be talking a little bit about the sessions as well. And we'll go a little bit deeper into that here in just a minute. And then your final piece of content is what I call your booking content. So this is only going to happen a handful of times a year. So this is, as you can see, it's the smallest section on this pyramid. And so this could be things like you're opening up your session dates. So you could, post that, the dates that you're going to be taking on sessions or weddings or anything along those lines. It could be, releasing new pricing. For me, I release a new lookbook every single year. And so this is the type of what I call my booking content. So I'll kind of talk about what's all in my lookbook. And if you guys have kind of heard me talk about it before, basically my lookbook is kind of like my pricing guide and dives a little bit deeper into what it's like to work with me. And I update that every year. And then I write a blog post that kind of hypes that up a little bit. And so that is my booking content for the year. So what else can we kind of blog about? We've talked about the categories that they kind of fall into, but there's different types of things that you can choose. So we have things like evergreen content, and this is going to fall into that help category. So evergreen content is things like preparing for your session, or how to hang photos on a wall, how to create a gallery wall. Maybe it is a blog post highlighting the products that you sell. So maybe you sell albums. You can do a really beautiful, take photos of an album that's already printed and show, how well it's made, and, maybe the box that it comes in, that type of thing. Now, seasonal content is kind of like evergreen content, as in it's also like in the help category, but it changes a little bit. So your seasonal content could be, what to wear for spring engagement sessions in 2021. Now, your outfits are going to change compared to 2003. So that's why it's seasonal. It still is kind of in that evergreen type of realm, but it kind of changes. So it's something that you're going to need to update, or that you can update every year, or every season. Then we get into our personal content, and this is really where that grow stage starts to take place. So for me, I wrote an 8-piece blog series on my husband's heart surgery story, and that was a very personal series that I did, and it really got people to know where I came from and why, just a little bit more about me. So you could, do something really deep like that, or you could do, your morning routine right now, or the books that you're reading right now, or maybe your goals for this year or this season, or maybe a family vacation that you went on. All of those fall into that personal content, which is, that grow category. Now, the next one that we're going to talk about is client sessions, which can kind of go in both the grow and the booking category. So when you're showcasing, the clients that you've worked with, you're really establishing that trust that people have already found in you because they've already booked you, and it's kind of creating this social proof, right? And at the bottom of it, you can, put a little link to, hey, if you're interested in booking a session just like this, click here for more information, and they can go to a contact page. So you can kind of use that as a booking type content but really it's kind of growing your like, know, and trust factor. And then again, like we talked about earlier, announcing your session openings, or announcing, your new pricing, or anything along those lines, that you're like, kind of like your hard sell types post is only going to happen a few times a year. And that's going to fall into your booking categories. All right, so we talked a little bit about evergreen content, but we're going to dive a little bit deeper into it. So one of the things that I love to use evergreen content for is to answer any frequently asked questions. So this is where I'm going to dive really deep into those topics so that I can really educate my clients on my approach to photography. So again, this can be things that are going to help them either before or even after their session with you. So you could talk about, the importance of maybe doing a first look, or maybe it's, what to pack in your hospital bag if you're a newborn photographer. That's something that a new mom is going to be researching, right? So if she can find that on, Pinterest, and then kind of dive into some of your other, your newborn photos, that's a really great way to, reel in, using that help content to draw in clients that potentially would want to book with you. So this is the type of content that's going to, fall into that help category. And this is kind of like the bulk of the type of content that you want to create. All right, so seasonal content, like we said, it changes over time. So this could be, what to wear guides. You could be linking up different outfits. So you could link directly to, to the site. So to Target or, wherever it is that you found these outfits. So it could be, dresses or shoes or, accessories, anything along those lines. Some other ideas for seasonal content could be, places to visit as a family this season. So maybe it's like the pumpkin patch, or, maybe there's a really great hiking trail that you love. You could share that. 5 books that every mom should read, or, top 3 date spots in your city, or maybe even like the 5 most Instagrammable locations in your town. Those are all really great seasonal content. All of those things can kind of change over time, but they still have a little bit of longevity to them. So it's a good type of content to create. Now, like we kind of talked about, the personal content, this is where your clients really get to learn more about who you are as a photographer and your person, and kind of get to see a little bit behind the curtain at your personal life. So like I said, I did that 8-part series on my husband's heart surgery and how it really tested my faith. And it got really personal, but it really shares my story, and it really connects and resonates with so many people. So maybe some ideas for you for personal content could be, the 3 books that you've read that really changed your life, or, what your morning routine looks like, maybe a life update for your kids going back to school or something along those lines. If you're doing any home renovations, you could show the progress of that, or like the before and after. Maybe you're planting a garden this year, so you could kind of show the progress of, these are the seeds that I'm starting. This is, what it looks like in the middle of summer. And these are, the tomatoes that we harvested. So you can share that and have multiple blog posts kind of sharing the story as it goes on. So that's a really great idea. Maybe you have some personal projects that you are working on. So maybe you are trying out some different lighting techniques or editing techniques or something along those lines. Go ahead and share that journey along the way. It's a really great way to show how you're developing as a person, and lets people kind of, watch you grow as a photographer and as a person. So all of these types of blog posts should have the purpose of growing your like, know, and trust factor with your potential clients. All right, so on to client sessions. Client sessions are a really great way to show off your work. So whenever we are blogging on past sessions or weddings or whatever it is that you're photographing, you get to, 1, you get to share images from it, but 2, you also get to write a little bit more about what it's like that working with you. So you can talk about the planning stage. So what goes into creating that session with you. So talk about, where they got their outfits, or how you help them prepare for their session, or maybe something funny that happened during the session. This is really to help potential clients see what the process is of working with you, so they can kind of start to see themselves working with you, so they can put themselves in your current client's shoes. This is also a great place to link any vendors that were involved in this shoot or this wedding. So you can, if you know that the mom of a family session got this really great outfit from a local boutique, you could link that in there and then tag them whenever you share it on Facebook or wherever. And that's just going to help draw more attention and see more eyes onto your blog post. So that is a really great option as well, to link to different things. And that's going to help out in your SEO as well. And we'll talk about SEO here in just a little bit. All right. So booking availability. So this is kind of when you're going to be talking about, just going to happen just a handful of times. And this is when you're going to announce the dates that you're available. So maybe you're going to preset the dates that you are going to be taking on clients. You can announce those dates and say, hey, these are the 6 dates for you guys to choose from. If you're interested in choosing one, here's a contact form. Let me know which date you're interested in, and I'll send over your contract. That's a really great way of doing that as well. Okay, so now that we've kind of talked about the different type or what to actually blog about, we are going to get into how often we should actually be blogging. Now, the biggest thing with how often to be blogging is staying consistent. I know as a photographer and as an entrepreneur, a business owner, we are really, really busy. So it can kind of feel a little bit overwhelming to add this extra piece of work onto everything that you're already doing. But the key is to find some type of consistency that works for you. Now, this could be, you could go all out and blog every single day, 5 days, like 7 days a week. I don't suggest doing that because you're going to burn yourself out, but find something that seems reasonable and easy enough for you to do. So I would suggest shooting for 1 to 2 blog posts a month. It doesn't have to be huge, overwhelming blog posts. They can be small. Start out small, show, client sessions or creating some type of evergreen or help content. I personally tried to blog any of my weddings and sessions about 3 days after the shoot. And then I also try to write 2 pieces of evergreen or help content a month. So sometimes this means that I'm blogging a lot in a month if I have a really busy month that has a lot of shoots in it. Other times in the slower seasons, it might just mean 2 posts a month. But that's my goal, and that's what I try to shoot for each month. And, sometimes I get it and sometimes I don't, but the thing is just to keep showing up and keep posting. Now, one of the ways that I can do this is by batch writing. So batch writing is basically when I sit down and I write out all of the blog posts that I'm going to be posting that month in one single day. And then I can schedule them throughout the month. And this means that I only have to sit down and do that hard work of writing and formatting everything just once a month. And then the rest of the month, I can kind of just forget it. They're scheduled to go out and I don't have to think about it again. Now, for client sessions or weddings, I can't really batch write those because, I have nothing to actually showcase or write about the session until I actually do it. So those things I do have to do as they happen. I can't really pre-write any of that stuff, but I do make sure whenever I book a session or book a wedding that I set aside the time to do this because I know that this is something that I have to do. So making sure that I can really set this time aside to do it is a great thing to try and do. So just like you would set aside time for editing, you also want to make sure that you are setting aside time for blogging this session or this wedding as well. Okay, so let's get into formatting our blog posts. So whenever we are writing out our blog post, we want to remember that there are 2 basic types of readers. We have our skimmers and we have our readers. So our skimmers are going to be reading the bullet points. So they're going to be looking at, the big headings or the subheadings in it. So we want to make sure that we're breaking up our text. And then our readers are there for every single word of the blog post. These are the people that are going to be checking your grammar and your spelling. Now, I don't want you to get hung up on your grammar or spelling. It happens, like spelling mistakes happen, grammar mistakes happen. It is not a reason to hold yourself back. If you make a mistake, go back and edit it and fix it, and it's fine if someone points it out. If no one points it out, who cares? It's up there and it's getting your point across. Like, don't get hung up on tiny little things. There are lots of spelling mistakes and grammar errors in my blog posts. I'm sure you'll find them if you read enough of them. But you know what? That's okay. I'm all right with that being the case. So now we're going to kind of actually walk through WordPress, and I'm going to show you how you can actually how to actually format these things. So let me switch my screens here. And nope, make sure we pull that up. Okay. Okay, so now you can see this. So whenever I log into the back of my website into WordPress, this is kind of what it looks like. Now I'm going to go over to posts here, and I'm just going to click on one here. So let's go ahead and click on this one here. So whenever you create a new post, you will hopefully your website will load. All right. So right up on top, you have your title, and then you can start writing in here. Now, whenever you create a little paragraph right here, this thing here will show up, and you can change whatever type of block that you have. So you can change this to, maybe we want to change this into a quote, and it will pull it into a quote here. So you could put whoever the author was here. So I'm going to put this back to paragraph here. And so same thing here. So this one here is let's put it back. We want to make it a heading. Now there's different types of headings. You can have a heading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and they will be smaller. The larger the heading number, the smaller the font will be based on whatever your template is. So that is how that works. You also, whenever you can make things bold, that will help things kind of stand out. One of the things you'll see down here is right here, there's not a ton of headings in here. This is a lot of text. So it would be really great for me to add in a heading here. So let's go ahead and add a heading in here. And let's put, oops, if I can. And let's turn this into maybe heading 3. So this will be a little bit smaller than right here, these ones here. We'll add another heading in here. And then we'll change this into a little bit smaller one. So you can see how these like headings are kind of breaking up all of these different, all of these paragraphs. Works out really great. Okay. The other thing I could probably do to make this blog post a little bit better is add some photos in here. So let's come in here and can click browse all, and I'm going to click on let's go image right here. And then whenever you click on that, you can select an image from your media library. You can drag images in there. Let's put this one in here. Now, this is something we'll talk about a little bit more. Actually, let's do this image instead. Right here, whenever you click on the image, you want to make sure that you rename the title of it. So for me, I will put, you know, my location, like where this photo was taken and what's in it. And you can also put that in the description. So right here, we could put,
Mom, I only do this. Mom, I have to. Mom, I have to.
what?
I have to.
Sure. Sorry, my little guy's hanging out here. Vintage car, wedding, bride and groom at sunset on dirt road. Now, basically, I'm just explaining what is going on here. And I could also put in here Williston, North Dakota, because that's where this is taking place at. Then I'll click select, and then it adds that photo in. Now, this is really great because people who are skimming will see images. And it also, as photographers, we get to kind of show off our images inside our blog posts. So it's great to be able to add in photos whenever possible. Let's see. That looks great here. So that is kind of how that looks up. The next thing I want to show you guys is a plugin that I use. It's called Yoast Seo. Now I do have the premium option here, but they do have a free option as well. And I really, really like it because it helps you kind of make sure you're checking all of the boxes of things that you should be doing when it comes to SEO. So let's go into here. Let's go. So when you click on this, you can see that my SEO title is not very strong. So this line here will turn green when it's good, yellow when it's not so good, and red when it's bad. So let's go ahead and rework the title of this. So let's put and then, okay, so actually, so you'll see right there when it had one extra little character, it didn't, you can see what it looks like for mobile and you can see what it looks like for desktop. The other thing that you can do is you can edit your slug. So this is what comes after your like .com. So right now it's really long, but that's okay. 5 tools for photographers, bookings increasing after COVID, Wise Photographer Podcast, episode 33. So if someone is searching episode 33, Wise Photographer Podcast, that's right up there in the slug. So that helps it bump to the top of Google search. Now, the other thing that you can do is you can edit your metadata. And this is like the little snapshot of what's inside this blog post. Now, whenever you write a blog post, if you don't edit that, it's basically just going to grab the first couple sentences at the top of your blog post. But you can write this part down here to be a little bit more consistent. So let's go ahead and put in here. Ooh. Yeah, so it could be a little bit longer. So let's put there because that is something that people might be searching for. So it'll also tell you what's going on with here. So you'll see all the good things and any problems that might need to happen. And you'll see right now under my readability, I kind of have some run-on sentences and I have one section that's longer than 300 words. So let's see if we can, these ones here. And let's turn this into heading 3. That might have fixed that. Yep, that got rid of that one. Let's see if there's any other.
Well, I need a tattoo on my arm. Look.
All right, so now let's turn this into 4. So as you can see, there's a lot of bolded. If I just kind of scroll through this quickly, you can see there's images, there's headlines, there's things that are bolded, and it kind of breaks up all of the text. Now this is a podcast episode. There's a lot of text in it. This is a pretty long blog post, and it really does end up kind of going exactly through everything that I said during the blog post. During the episode. So not every single blog post needs to be this long. So I'm gonna go ahead and update it right now, and let's go ahead and take a look at it here. So you can see what this blog post actually looks like. So as you can see, I have the little, you can actually listen to the blog post right here, but you can see how this is like our headline number 1. This here is headline number 2 or 3. This is 2, this is 3. So each of those headlines based on my template for my design for my site is going to look a little bit different. So that's where that comes into play, which is really, really nice. So, I've linked to an Instagram post here. There's all sorts of things in here as well. So let's go ahead and go back to okay. So now let's talk a little bit more about SEO. We talked about this a little bit just a second ago. But some of the biggest things that we can do is to make sure that we kind of have like a checklist that we're doing each time that we go through and write a blog post. So one of the biggest things as photographers is renaming our images. So whenever we upload photos to WordPress, we want to make sure that it's not just like C.W1234567, because no one's going to be searching for that, and that doesn't explain what's in the photo. So rename it to, have your business name in it. Maybe a location, or if it's at a certain venue, or if you're a family photographer, put family photographer, Wisconsin, or wherever you're located. The other thing is trying to categorize your posts. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do that right quick in here. To share. Okay. Okay, so over here, so when we come into WordPress here, we have the different categories. So you can have these categorized for different things. So for me, this is under, photographer education. It's going to be under photographers. I'm talking a little bit about gear, so it has gear in there. And I also have, it should not be in there. It should be, the Wise Photographer podcast. So those are different categories that I have set up. So you could have, session preps, or, family sessions, or, preparing for senior sessions, or maybe you could have your products. So you could have one category, photography products. So that is how you set your categories. Let's see what else we have. You can also tag your posts. You can set your featured image. So this, for my template, it is this first image right here. And it also, it will also be the images that are shared right here on my website. So these are all the featured images, which is nice to be able to do there. So you want to make sure that you're setting your featured image. You can set your excerpt here, which is where you can pull your metadata from, or you can write that would be your metadata if you don't have the Yoast plugin. So I'm going to show you how to get that Yoast plugin. Oh, I better update this. Wait for this to update here. Okay. So let's go here back to WordPress. So you're going to come down here to plugins. And then you can, you're going to add new. And then you will just search for Yoast. And it's this one right here. Mine needs to be updated. So I will go ahead and update that. But basically you will install, right? You would click on whatever it is, click install. And then in your installed ones, you come over here to installed plugins. You just want to make sure that it's activated. So you can deactivate it, you can activate it. I'm just going to delete this one because I don't need that one anymore. But that is how that works up as well. Apparently I have some that need to be updated. So that is how that works. And then whenever you go into your posts, it will have the thing down here at the bottom showing you like your scores and that type of thing. Let me show you here. So it'll have the scores here. Now this blog post is not actually written, but you'll see right at the bottom of it, you have all of these nice things here. And you can set this as cornerstone content. You can, set your keywords that you want to focus on. So those are all options within that. And it's a really great, it's a very great plugin to use whenever you are getting into blogging. So definitely check that out. All right, so where do we want to share our blog posts after we have hit publish? So you have worked really hard on creating these blog posts and updating, your image titles and all of your SEO stuff. So it's important not to just let these blog posts sit there. We want to get the most use out of them whenever we can, especially if you're creating things like evergreen content or help content and that type of thing. So you can share your blog posts pretty much anywhere on social media. So in your Instagram feed, you can talk about it on a post itself and talk about what it is and then link it in your profile link. You can talk about it on stories. If you have over 10,000 subscribers or 10,000 followers, you can add a swipe up on stories. I don't have that yet, and you might not have that yet. So you talk about it and then make sure that you're sharing in your story, head to my link in my profile and you can view it there. You can do the same thing on Facebook. So Facebook, you can share the links directly to your Facebook page, talk a little bit about it, maybe share some photos with the link to it and say, hey, if you want to check out more, here's the link to the Facebook page. You can also make sure that you are tagging any vendors on Facebook and even Instagram, so that way they can see it, they can kind of help promote it as well, and you just kind of get more eyes on it than you would without tagging anyone else. When it comes to Pinterest, Pinterest is a whole nother topic, and I'm sure we'll dive into that soon as well. But you don't have to create just one graphic. Go ahead, go into Canva, create multiple graphics and pin them to different boards that you have that are related to your topic. So maybe you have outdoor weddings as a board, or maybe you have, Williston weddings or North Dakota weddings as different boards. You can pin the same blog post to all of those different boards using different graphics. As long as it's a new graphic, Pinterest will push it out to people. So a new graphic can have the same titles. You can have just different fonts. You can have different colors. You can use different photos. But basically, Pinterest wants you to create new content whenever you are publishing pins to Pinterest. The other thing that you can do is you can use these educational posts inside your client emails. So maybe you have, someone books a session with you, you can send them, hey, here's a blog post I just wrote for 5 outfit ideas if you want to check it out. That's a really great way to help your clients prepare for their sessions or for their weddings or whatever it is that you're photographing. And it really helps you to establish yourself as an expert in your industry. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today and talking a little bit about blogging. It's a really big topic. I don't think blogging is dead. I think it can be very useful even in 2021. So set a goal. How many blog posts do you want to blog per month? And batch write whenever you possibly can. Don't get hung up on grammar or spelling. It's okay to have mistakes. You can update blog posts if you need to. You can republish them. But just make sure that you are creating content consistently, whatever that looks like for you, whether that's, once a week, twice a month, every single day. Just make sure that you're consistent and making sure that you're sharing those blog posts wherever you can. So don't just let them sit on your website. Put them out there into the world so that they can continue to work for you over the long haul. That's it for today's lesson. I hope that you guys got a lot out of this. If you have any other questions, let me know. I will be doing some follow-ups on these as well, I'm sure. And I will see you guys in the next workshop. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys later. Bye. Hey guys, I hope that you loved the workshop. If you would like to be a part of our Facebook group, you can find the links right below. You also can find the links to a really neat little SEO checklist to make sure that you are hitting all of those boxes every time that you post a blog post. Again, those links are down below in the description. You can also check out the podcast, which is the Wise Photographer Podcast. We are on Apple Podcast, Spotify, all of the places. So you can find us anywhere that you guys listen to podcasts. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this workshop. Make sure you hit the subscribe button below so you can get notified every time that we post a new educational video to help busy photographers just like you run a business that you are proud of and is very fulfilling without taking over your life. All right, guys, that's it for today. I'll see you next time. Bye.